This is the all-new Elementary OS 6 Odin. This is a massive update that comes with new features, improved design, and major changes under the hood that redefine what Elementary OS is. Yes, Elementary OS has taken a step in a whole new direction with its cutting-edge application sandboxing technology. This is a first of its kind platform change that has the potential to be a massive update for Elementary OS as well as desktop Linux altogether. So buckle up for a whole new experience. In this video, we'll be having a look at what's new, what's improved, the performance, the big changes, and what they mean for you as a Linux user. And I believe it might be a make or break thing for you, so let's jump right in. Starting off with the user interface, we get a fresh new Pantheon desktop environment here. Pantheon is the homegrown desktop made specially for Elementary OS, and this has received a lot of love. This clean and modern desktop might be the single biggest reason for Elementary's success. Now it gets even better. Pantheon finally gets a dark mode, and man, does this look good. I never customized Elementary OS desktop because I felt everything was just right and couldn't get any better. But this is definitely better. Everything looks so clean and premium here. While all the system apps and most installed apps do follow this dark mode, care has been taken not to force third-party apps to use this dark mode, which might result in bad UI. The dark mode is just encouraged. I installed this third-party app right now and just look at how beautifully this app is integrating into the system style. You can also schedule the dark mode to kick in at sunset or at specified times. Elementary OS 6 also brings enhanced customization with 10 different accent colors to choose from. This is pretty much akin to changing themes, but this is going to be more polished. You can also choose the primary color in the desktop background, which is a nice touch. Before Odin, customization space on Elementary OS was close to zero. I like that they have added these while also making sure that the final experience will be both highly polished and uniform. Fun fact you should know, while Elementary OS 6 has not changed very much visually, the developers had to completely rewrite the system CSS from scratch to facilitate the new things. This brings in new system fonts which are more crisper and professional looking. The borders, context menu shadows that add a 3D depth effect, everything gets a finesse now. Speaking of 3D, the notifications are completely redesigned and now come as these gorgeous looking 3D badges in the notifications panel. The whole thing is completely rebuilt from ground up. Notifications are now richer, complete with app icons, full emoji support, and action buttons that enable us to respond to or take action regarding the notification right from this badge itself, without having to open the app, just like we do on our smartphones. This is a really nice improvement for Elementary. Overall, the gorgeous Pantheon desktop is now more polished and more enjoyable, but it still has the same loved and adored look, feel, and workflow. This is particularly significant because consistency in how you use your computer is very important for many people. Top points for Elementary OS 6 in the user interface department. While Elementary OS has not changed visually, it's an entirely different story functionally. Under the hood, there has been a huge change in how apps are installed, how they are updated, how they run, and consequently, your experience with applications. Let's fire up the good old App Center. You'll notice something's just not right here. The number of apps is very less and many apps that we should be seeing here are not here. Elementary OS 6 with its application sandboxing paradigm has taken a huge step away from the commonly expected native .deb packages from Ubuntu repositories to Flatpaks. Elementary 6 is still based on Ubuntu, 20.04 LTS to be exact. But to provide better privacy and security, better usability, faster updates to the apps we use, all the App Center apps are now packaged and distributed as Flatpaks. Flatpak is a modern packaging format that sandboxes all the apps to reinforce the already robust security on Linux. This is a unified package manager, meaning Flatpaks run on all the distros, are more easy to install, get faster updates, and work fine on all the distros without any dependency hassle. What does this mean for you as the user? Right now, App Center doesn't have all the apps, so we'll be installing most apps from FlatHub. This side loading is supported. You just go to FlatHub on your browser and click on Install. And once you install an app from FlatHub, any app, this repository will be added to App Center and all the FlatHub apps will be populated here. Now on, you can install FlatHub apps from right here, and all the apps will receive updates here too. If you prefer to use .deb packages instead of Flatpaks, you can install software from Ubuntu repositories using the terminal. Sudo apt install and the package name will install the software. These still run without any issues. And if you want a GUI package manager for .deb packages, I suggest you install Synaptic. The install command is given in the description below. I love using native apps on all the Linux distros, but snaps and Flatpaks are undeniably revolutionary. Many fantastic apps are available on Linux only because of these fantastic unified package managers. There are hundreds of Linux distros and a software developer cannot package their software for 100 different distros, taking into account dependencies, version numbers and such. Flatpaks and snaps make the lives of the developers easier. There are also obvious benefits like better security and privacy, which rank pretty high in the Linux community. Flatpaks and snaps also run better in a sense that they give very less issues to the users. In almost all the cases, everything will be working fine and you will not face any problems. This is because these Flatpaks are packaged with all the dependencies and are very well tested. The same Flatpak will work on all the Linux distros no matter the kernel version, lineage, dependencies or the package manager. Everything works. Even updates are faster as the software developers themselves will be pushing the updates to the users, not the package maintainer for each distro. While we have seen the benefits of Elementary's new change, how you feel about it is entirely up to you. But along with benefits, there are some drawbacks too, mainly the performance. When I was playing around with the new Elementary OS, I did notice a slight increase in app opening times. Many of the default system apps on here are also Flatpaks, and Flatpaks have a startup overhead as they have all their dependencies packaged with them and they too should be read and loaded into the memory when you click on an app icon. So I did a quick experiment. I installed multiple copies of Elementary OS 6 on slightly different hardware to test out its performance. On SSD, Elementary OS ran butter smooth and app opening times were very good. Almost close to native, no problem here. On the same system but on a hard disk drive, I noticed very slow app loading times. Firefox Flatpak took up to 8 seconds while the same Firefox in native format loaded up in 4 seconds. Now this is not specific to Elementary OS. On any Linux distro, Flatpaks will be slower to load when compared to native. Another thing I should clarify is, these slow app startup times are noticed only the first time you launch an app. If we close a Flatpak app and launch it a second time, the app starts up very quickly as the app files are cached in the RAM. If you have an SSD and more than 4 GB RAM, you should be just fine. If not, you will have slower app startup times for Flatpaks for the first launch. But once launched, these apps run fine without any performance hits. Also, you can just install native .deb versions of apps using the apt command or the Synaptic package manager, which is my preferred way. All the apps I use on a regular basis, I've installed natively and they are running fine. Now talking about the system responsiveness, Elementary 6 is very nimble and responsive. I really enjoyed this system. And for gaming and larger tasks like compiling, the performance here is really good. Elementary OS has always been very stable and dependable. It is based on the solid Ubuntu base and is a great system for homes, students, offices, software developers and businesses. Elementary is created with a high degree of professionalism and it is evident everywhere. Elementary OS 6 Odin will be supported for the next 4+ years. It will continue receiving app updates, bug fixes and security updates on a regular basis. So wherever you want to deploy Elementary 6, you can do so. From a usability point of view, Elementary OS has always shined. This Pantheon desktop is highly productivity oriented. When you look at this system, you get a good feel of where everything is and how to use this system. The new Elementary OS brings multi-touch gestures. 3-finger swipes can be used to switch between workspaces and this feels so natural. You can also summon the multitasking view with 3-finger swipe up. These gestures add a very natural feeling touch to the system. The system is very lean and simple. The settings are easy to comprehend and modify. Getting around on Elementary is very easy. The only thing you'll need to change here is binding the super button to application menu. Overall, Elementary OS 6 Odin is a very simple system that looks gorgeous and is highly functional and dependable. I highly recommend this to all levels of Linux users, including newcomers. Installing Elementary OS 6 is very simple. First, go to their official website and download the ISO file. Link is in the description below. Elementary OS has a pay what you want model and it's definitely worth the money. Once the ISO file is downloaded, write it onto a USB stick and boot into it. The installer is very simple. Choose your language, keyboard layout, and the drive for installation and Elementary will be installed. You can use gparted to modify partitions if you want. After installation, reboot and then it'll ask you to create a user and a password. Then, a welcome screen will take you through the introduction. Elementary OS 6 has a rather easy installation process. Computers with AMD and Intel integrated graphics will have the drivers included in the kernel itself. For NVIDIA, open source drivers are provided, but installing official drivers is a bit of a hassle. But no worries, I've given the proper and simple way to install the drivers in the description below. Make a Timeshift Backup before you install the drivers. Then install the drivers using the method in the description and run the commands given there before rebooting. This method will work fine for installing official NVIDIA drivers on Elementary OS 6. In case anything goes wrong, roll back using Timeshift. Overall, getting started with Elementary OS 6, the installation, setup, everything is very convenient and fast. Elementary OS has always been a fantastic operating system. It's elegant, lean, and functionally rich. This system provides a no-nonsense computing environment for its users. Elementary OS 6 is a big leap. I always knew snaps and flatpaks will be the future of Linux applications. Elementary 6 brings that future to us now. Ubuntu is doing the same thing with snaps. They are daring to be the first ones to change the game. And these newer package managers definitely have their advantages. We might just as well jump on this bandwagon. Elementary 6 is very polished. It looks stunning both on laptops and desktops. Pantheon Desktop is pure brilliance. It's usable by everybody, students and professionals alike. In fact, it's highly enjoyable. I love everything about this major update. Now you have access to a vast library of latest software, a dependable system underneath. The whole experience with Elementary OS 6 is going to be a premium one. Do give it a try. The download link is given in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, do consider subscribing to the channel. Also, check me out on Patreon and connect with me on Instagram. Next up, check out Garuda Linux, which is an innovative new distro that's turning heads. That's it for today guys, see you in the next one. This is Linux Techs, signing out.